Okay, let's just show you how to install this software and how to use it in its most basic form. Then I'll show you a quick look under the covers so you can understand how you can tailor this to be used in a more sophisticated way for your websites. So we've got the zip file here, and of course we need to decompress that, so you can just use, if I right click here, can just use the Windows facilities, but I like to use 7-zip, and if I extract it here you'll see that I get one folder called images and 3 other files here, and what I need to do now is get those onto the servers. Over here on the server side, it's really just as it is set up out of the tin. Now this is in the web folder, which is just how my host has it. Other hosts will have public_.html or possibly HTTP docs, but basically it needs to go where your root directory is for your, well, in this instance the root directory for the files which are where your website files live. So all I need to do is to highlight the files that I want to transfer. So I don't really want the zip, so I'm going to leave that one out. So I'm pressing left clicking as I hold down Control, and I could just right click and say upload, but I like to drag and drop sometimes, and this is one of those times, and those files have gone over. And the one thing I'm going to do now is I'm just going to rename this placeholder. This is just for me, for my benefit, because one of the things I sometimes get confused about is having a file with the same name, like index, in both HTML form and PHP, and because, as you'll see, it's important that we have PHPs for using this software, I'm just going to rename that. So I know I've got it there if I need to use it or go back to it for any reason, but having done that, I know that I won't get confused. So that's the server now on, sorry, that's the software now on the server. Let's go and take a look at what it does in its most basic form. And what we're going to do is call up this file, the PHP file, which is in the root domain, and see what that looks like. So if I come over here, you can see this is what you will find. Now this, I keep saying, is very bare bones, so that you can see how this works. How does it work? Well, we've got banner 1 here, and if I float the mouse you can see it's clickable. On the bottom left you can see the link to Google. The other thing we see here is this down arrow, and if I click on the down arrow you'll suddenly see that I have not 1 but 5 banners, and each of these is a link as well. If you look in the bottom left hand corner you can see the different websites which these banners link to. If I click on the down arrow again, it compresses them all. So what's going on here? Let's have a look at the files that we've put on the server. Index.php and items.txt we'll look at in a minute. Generate drop.php we don't really need to know too much about, because that's the thing that does all the work. Images, well, we'll take a quick look at that in a moment as well, but I'm going to look at index.php. I like to use Notepad++ because I can get multiple tabs in very nicely. Now this is a very minimal version of the kind of file that you might use, which of course would have a lot more content in it. But all this has got is a couple of div tags, and in the middle here the important bit is this bit of PHP, including the generate drop.php file. Now you may find that you want to move some of the files around so that things are nice and tidy on your website. If you do, make sure that you specify the correct path to the generate drop.php file. And of course, because it's called PHP, it has to be index.php or whatever.php, because that is what invokes the PHP processor on your web server. Let's now have a look at items.txt, because that also is very important. Now you can see here I've highlighted a little semicolon which is in the middle of each of these lines, and as soon as you look on either side of it I think you'll see what's going on. To the left we have the path of a banner file which we were looking at earlier, and to the right there's the associated link. Whoops. So banner 1 is going to google.com, banner 2 is going to yahoo.com, and so on. And you must remember the http:// to make the links work. Okay, so we've got 5 here. You don't need to have 5, you can have 2, but you could have more than 5, but it might make things look a bit strange, but the choice is yours. So if we go back here, you'll see once again we have banner 1, google.com, and if we click down here you can see that we've got as many as we want. So the only other thing, of course, which I said we'd look at is images, and if I expand that you'll see this is where those banner files are coming from, and there's the drop button.png. You could change that if you like to something a little bit more suited to your needs, but that's just an example here. Okay, let's think about how we could perhaps use this in a more effective way. Okay, now a more practical example. This is a little mock-up of the kind of page that you might find an affiliate using to promote one or more different autoresponders. Just an information page, maybe some reviews, and what I'm going to do is use this to insert the software and show you an idea for using it. Let's have a quick look at the source code. Pretty basic HTML. It's truncated on the right, but that doesn't really matter, the paragraphs there. And where I have the cursor here is where I'm going to put the call to the software we've just been playing with. So if I just move this down, I'll put it there and give it plenty of white space. Now if I go back to the original example file, which is this, you remember I said that you don't actually need to have anything except this bit in the middle, which is the call to the PHP routine, which is actually doing all the work. But I will actually just copy all of this, and then I'll make a slight change because it will fit my styling better. So if I copy that and go back to example.php, and it does have to be a PHP file because we are making a call to a PHP routine. I'm just going to change the height here on the div to 90 pixels because I've already checked that's the size of the banners that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to save that, and now what I need to do is go over to items.txt. Now this was how we saw it before with the example links and banners in, and I'm going to get rid of everything except the first 2 lines because I'm only going to do 2. But in each case you can still see I've got this semicolon which separates these 2 different parts of the line. If I just highlight that first part, rather than just use the banner that we had originally, I'm now going to put in there the link, or the address rather, of a banner on the affiliate program. Now I'm going to use Aweber to start with, and this banner here, which you'll probably have seen a lot. Now I can't actually copy and paste the bits I want out of this all at once, so if I just highlight everything here and right click on copy, then I'll go back to my editor and I've got a new file set up here. So if I paste that HTML into that, you can see there's an image tag here, and I'm interested in the source of it. You should only really do this, of course, if you have the permission of the host of the image. Clearly, if you are an affiliate of Aweber, you do have that agreement because they're giving you this HTML here, but bandwidth theft is not something to be approved or condoned of, so do make sure that you have permission to do that. So I've just copied that link and I'm going back to items.txt. I've already highlighted the area I want to change, so if I paste that you can see that I've now got that link in there. What I need to do now, of course, is change the actual link. Sorry, I should have said I've actually got the address of the image we're going to use. Now I want to get the link. So if I go back to to my editor, and this was the file I was looking at here, and this is the actual link, and it's got my affiliate ID in, as you can see. So if I highlight that and copy it, go back to items.txt, I've already highlighted this, and I paste that. And you can see I've got my semicolon delimiting the 2 areas here, and on the right I've got my link, on the left I've got the address of the image which will be used. Okay, I will pause the recording while I do the next part, because once you've seen that done, you can work out what to do for the next bit. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, and now I've highlighted here the address of the image on the StreamSend affiliate site, and to the right of the semicolon there you can see the affiliate link for that. So saved that, and what I need to do now is get that and my modified example.php onto my server. So if I've already got example selected, if I hold down Control and click on items, then I can upload it. So it's just asking me if I want to overwrite the ones that are there already, and I do. So now let me refresh this page, and if I scroll down slightly you can see the first banner, which is the Aweber banner, and of course here is the down arrow which we saw earlier. If I click on that, perhaps putting this at the bottom of the page wasn't the best for demo purposes, but you can see that I've now got the StreamSend one as well. If I float over that, you can see they are clickable, and if you look in the bottom left hand corner you can see the affiliate links. So if I click on the StreamSend link, it will take me to their site there. So that's just a quick demonstration of the kind of thing that you might use this for. I'm sure that people will be able to think of lots of other ideas, so I hope you find this useful.